How's it going, Worcester? This is the greatest city in the greatest state in this entire country, and today you've proven that once again. Let's give yourselves a giant round of applause. A lot of people think that the American Revolution started in 1776. They are incorrect. The American Revolution started in 1765 because people in this state began to question whether this is how we wanted our lives to be. Do we want to serve a wealthy crown? Do we want to determine our own fate? And the people in this state, were the first to ask that question. The people in this state were the first to organize. And they had to convince the whole rest of the country to come along. We were the first to shed blood, but we were the first to have the ideas. We had the ideological revolution right here in Massachusetts first. I grew up, like many of you, hearing about the tales of the American Revolution and the patriots who did the impossible. They fought against not just a king, the king. Not just an empire, the empire. And they did not win that battle with guns. They won it with ideas. And those ideas have spread to every corner of this world. Some of you may know me, some may not. But my name is James Miller. I spent 15 years as a journalist covering pro-democracy movements, protest movements, uprisings, and authoritarian dictatorships all across this country, all across this world, in Iran, and then in Egypt, and in Syria, and in Russia, and in Ukraine. And I can tell you I've met many of those people. I've met Syrian activists. I've met Egyptian activists. I've met Ukrainian activists many, many, many times. And you know what they want to talk about? They want to talk about the America of 1776. That's where they got their inspiration from. And I'm sad to say that many of them had to give their lives to get their country free. But in places like Ukraine, they did it. And in places like Syria, they did the impossible. Everyone counted them out, but the protest movement is what delivered victory. I'm also sad to say that in my reporting, I had to cover the forces that tried to put those insurrections down, that arrested peaceful protesters, that shot them with tear gas, that beat them with billy clubs, and when it didn't work, shot them with guns and bombs and tanks. And I can tell you, if I am critical thinking, and I take my emotions out of the picture, and I list the things that those authoritarian governments do, and I look at my own government right now, it is the same list. Our government may be broken. Our government is broken. But our people are not broken. The ideas of democracy are not broken. We need to continue to gather. We need to continue to organize. Let me tell you a story about my friends in Ukraine. The Ukrainian government got freedom from Russia in the mid-90s. And the first thing that they did was they gave up their nuclear weapons, one of the largest nuclear weapons arsenals in the world. They gave it up in an agreement between the United States and Russia. And Russia said, we will protect you from outside forces. And the United States said, we will hold you to that. But when you fast forward to 2014, people just like us had had enough of their corrupt government. The government in Ukraine was working from Moscow. They were giving their wealth to oligarchs. They were giving their wealth to Russia. They had no freedom. They had no democracy. They had a fake democracy. And the people started to organize. And when you got enough of those people together, they shut down the entire capital. They took over the central square in that capital. And they forced the Ukrainian president to answer, to give them their terms, to join the European Union. But Moscow had other ideas. Vladimir Putin summoned the Ukrainian president to Moscow and said, you will not do this. You are my puppet. And he was so afraid of Putin that he went back and told the people of Ukraine, we're going to stick with Moscow. And do you know what those people did? Millions of them took to the streets and did not leave. And that president, Viktor Yanukovych, ordered his soldiers, he ordered his troops, you shoot those people. And guess what? It didn't work. It didn't work. And they shot more bullets, and it didn't work. And they were ready to deploy the military, and the people stayed. And I woke up one morning expecting to cover a bloodbath in Ukraine, and the government was gone. The people took over. The people took over Ukraine, and they did it without firing a shot. And then Vladimir Putin saw that, and it scared the shit out of him. And soon after he invaded, and the Ukrainian people looked to us, and they said, we're doing what you did. We're standing up for your values. We're continuing your revolution. We're fighting your war. Please, for the love of democracy, help us defeat Putin. And we did. And you know what? We didn't do enough. And he came back, he invaded in 2022, he invaded bigger and badder than ever. And we poured our support on, and we didn't do enough because we thought we had time. And Donald Trump took office, and he sold those people out. Is that who we are? No! Are we a country who betrays our allies? No! Are we a country who attacks the poorest and most vulnerable among us? No! I'll tell you what, there's a key difference between what's going on in this country and what happens in some other countries. Because if you're a Russian oligarch, Ukraine is very bad for you. But nothing this movement stands for is bad for any Americans, except for the oligarchs like Elon Musk and Donald Trump, the criminals. We will prevail.
That was my sister.
It is going to take the continued efforts of all of you to organize, to grow, to show the world, not just the country, the world, that we represent what's best for everyone, not just a chosen few. What's happening here today will be in the history books, just like 1776, just like Lexington and Concord, just like Bunker Hill. This is what democracy looks like. 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 Thank you.